Elections matter, and the interest in this year's midterm election proves it.
Tonight, Georgia just hit a huge milestone with record-breaking voting numbers. More than 1 million people have already cast a ballot ahead of Election Day on November 8th. The Georgia Secretary of State making that announcement today.
Atlanta News First reporter Don Shipman live in Forest Park outside a polling location. And Don, you talked to some early voters this afternoon.
I certainly did. We stopped by 2 of the 8 early voting locations here in Clayton County. This one right here in Forest Park at the Forest Park Senior Center. At both of the locations, we saw a steady stream of people making their way inside to cast their ballot. I talked with some of them. They told me that they voted early to avoid the long lines on Election Day.
I like to get in and out.
For Brandon Kelly of Clayton County, voting early is all about convenience. Plus, he's able to vote without having to take a day off from work.
Because every time I do the early voting, it's in and out. Every time I voted and it's that day that you're supposed to, it's just always a big line.
We have crossed the threshold of 1 million voters.
Kelly is one of more than 1 million Georgians who have made the decision to vote early in this year's midterms. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger making the announcement with exactly 2 weeks remaining until Election Day.
To put that into perspective, at this point in the last midterm in 2018, we stood at about 590,000 votes. That is nearly a 70% increase comparing apples to apples.
I just didn't want to have any hiccups on Election Day.
Early voting began last week, and from the start, Georgia continued to break early voting records. Clayton County resident Tanya Lee is a first-time early voter.
I just wanted to make sure that my vote counted, and I wanted to make sure that I got out very early.
Georgians are also making their vote count by requesting absentee ballots. So far, more than 250,000 have been requested. And the deadline to request an absentee ballot is fast approaching this Friday, October 28th. Early voting, by the way, that ends on Friday, the Friday before Election Day, that being November 4th. We're live here in Forest Park. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
Abortion is